As we know that this is a question from governance, particularly from e-governance in GS paper 2. So it's always a good idea to first map it to the syllabus, map the particular question to the syllabus, how she has done the brainstorming, which means what areas have she identified, how she has planned her questions without before even starting the question, right? She has used a conceptual approach to explain this. Other way of introducing would be explaining the concept of e-governance. Hello everyone, my name is Pratik, and in today's video, we are going to deconstruct one of the toppers' answers and try to figure out how they have answered so well, right? So for today's reference, we are looking into the answers provided by Miss Anju. Miss Anju secured an All India rank 60 this year, and we will be following the same approach that we have followed in our previous videos. So what I'll do is I'll display one of the questions that this topper has written in one of our test series, right? And what you're supposed to do is to pause for 10 minutes and then try to write it on your own. Now, after 10 minutes, you should unpause and see what the topper has finally ended up writing, right? So we'll discuss the answer and we'll also try to deconstruct what she has applied in those things after that discussion, right? So this is the question. The question is, how has information and communication technology, ICT, transformed the governance landscape at the grassroots levels in India? What are the key obstacles in leveraging its full potential? Answer in 150 words. So take a pause for 10 minutes. After that, you resume the video and see the discussion and see how the topper has approached this particular question, okay? So welcome back. So first, let's understand what is the demand of the question. As we know that this is a question from governance, particularly from e-governance in GS paper 2. So it's always a good idea to first map it to the syllabus, map the particular question to the syllabus. So you have mapped it to the syllabus, right? Now the question is about the application, the importance, the role of e-governance, of ICT, information communication technology. So whatever is the role of e-governance will equally be applicable here, right? Because as such, ICT is the enabler of e-governance. And what is e-governance? E-governance is nothing but the application of ICT for transforming relationship between citizens, between the various aspects of government and the market, right? So again, here the purpose of e-governance is to introduce or is to ensure smart governance. So what is smart governance? SMART, S stands for simple, moral, accountable, responsive, and transparent. Okay? So here, the question is about, first, is about how ICT has helped in governance at grassroots level, right? And then you need to talk about the key obstacles. So first you need to tell about how, which means in various ways you have to talk about various dimensions as a result of which ICT has helped governance at the grassroots level. Then what are the key obstacles? Again, whatever challenges that we face in terms of e-governance can equally be applicable here. Then we need to provide some conclusion, or we can also provide some suggestions. In brief, what can be done in this regard? And in suggestions, you can give any recent government measures or government schemes, any policies, whatever comes to your mind, which somehow addresses the obstacles that you have mentioned here. So again, the suggestions that you write should correspond to the obstacles that you have mentioned here. Okay, so it should not be very vague in nature. It should not be very misdirected. Fine. So let's take a look at what the topper has done. And here also we will be approaching this particular answer in the framework that we have used earlier. So first we'll talk about how she has done the brainstorming, which means what areas have she identified, how she has planned her questions without before even starting the question, right? And then we'll talk about the structuring part or the organization part. Then we'll talk about the content in terms of the specific content written and the kind of value addition that she has done. And finally, we'll talk about the presentation aspects. So let's start with the brainstorming approach. So what is the brainstorming approach? So what you can see that she has first explained how ICT, like ICT and the relevance of this. So she has first given an introduction, brief introduction, and then she has used this approach that she has provided the significance. So all the significance she has written here itself. So you can see the first part. This part is addressed here. The first half of the question is addressed here. Then for obstacles, she has taken this much point. So 5 points she has given for obstacles and yes, 5 points for significance, right? So 5 each part she has given here. And then she has given certain suggestions. So this is going to be, or this is the structure that she might think before even starting the actual question, right? So this is the brainstorming part and structuring we have seen. So let's take a look at the introduction, what kind of introduction she has written here. ICT or information communication technology has transformed governments in India by adhering to the principle of minimum government and maximum governance. An excellent way to write an introduction. How? Because here she has shown that what exactly is the principle that ICT follows. Okay, so ICT follows a principle of minimum government and maximum governance, which means that as of now, with the use of internet or with the use of ICT, you do not require so many people at the intermediary level, and you need maximum governance, means that the process of governance has become very smooth because of this, but the number of people that is required has reduced substantially. So that is the principle of maximum government, minimum government and maximum governance, right? So this is, she has used a conceptual approach to explain this. Other way of introducing would be explaining the concept of e-governance. She could have explained what is the how ICT is leading to a revolution in e-governance, and she could have given certain data to substantiate that part in terms of the number of bank accounts that beneficiaries have, or maybe the level of corruption that has reduced because of ICT or something like that. Or maybe she could have just explained the concept of ICT and e-governance, right? So that could be one. Okay. So that is the significance, all these things we have discussed. Now, if you look at the conclusion, so what is the conclusion that is mentioned? Thus, there are various challenges, schemes like PM Vani, PMG Disha, CERT-In, and recent Data Protection Act. So what is the Data Protection Act? Personal Digital Data Protection Act, right? 2023 will help to effectively address these issues. So what issues she has written here? So again, the issues are corresponding to, or the solutions are corresponding to the solutions written here, or the measures written here, right? Fine. So what is the significance? Fine. So we are done with this brainstorming part. We are done with the structure part in terms of introduction. And there are two major or the two core components of your body. One is in terms of the significance, and second in terms of the obstacles. So I hope the structuring part is very clear. So we have one introduction, and we have two parts of the body. One part we are talking about the significance, and the second part we are talking about the obstacles. And finally, we are using a solution-based conclusion, right? And again, this is important because I think this is the best approach for writing a conclusion, because this aligns with the schemes as well. So schemes plus solution. Okay. So we are done with the structure part. Now let's talk about the content. So going to the specific content exactly is the demand of the question. So here exactly is the demand of the question. So that as per the demand, you have to write the significance, and you have to write about the obstacles. So what is the demand, or what is the way in which she has written? First, in terms of significance of ICT in governance at grassroots level, accessibility increase to wider section of society. Example, Sugamya Bharat app, accessibility for disabled, or you can better write PWD, person with disabilities, right? Then reduced corruption by digitization of end-to-end process. Example, DBT and gas subsidy. Again, a very good example. If you can recall, or if you can use any sort of data, that would be even better. Third, in terms of grievance redressal, CP grams directly taking complaints. So earlier, it was a very challenging thing to complain or provide your grievances against a government official. But with the onset of CP grams is a way, is a tool through which you can provide your grievances concerning any public official in an online mode. So again, it's a very efficient way to improve upon the governance process and assure transparency. Fourthly, allowed portability. Example, one nation, one ration card for migrant workers, right? So it is also mentioned in like that. Finally, he has also written about increased transparency, OEIOS, audit and account system. So this is OIOS is essentially by CAG, and you should look into it, what exactly it is. So it is about one Indian department audit and account and one system, right? So again, this is to ensure transparency and to ensure efficiency. So again, she has given 5 different aspects, right, of governance, including transparency, accessibility, including grievance redressal, portability, and along with that, she has also given relevant examples. Now let's take a look into the obstacle part. So here she has given digital divide. 34% of rural household lack access to internet, or only 34% have access to internet, which means that the remaining of them are digitally divided, or they are excluded. 70% urban areas. So this is about Oxfam report. So she has also provided the resource, or with the actual sources as well. Second, digital literacy. 38% of internet users are digitally literate, Oxfam report, right? Exclusion and technologies vulnerability. Example, MG Narega workers are delayed due to technological issues. All these things are there. Then, because see, again, there are certain problems with e-governance as well. So this is essentially talking about the limitations of e-governance, right? Then privacy and data leakages. Again, there are some examples mentioned in terms of accessibility. Local languages are not utilized. So again, these are some of the obstacles. Now the solutions, if you look at it, there are various challenges like PM Vani, right? So PM Vani essentially is about access, increasing access, and in different language. PM Disha is about Grameen internet access. Then CERT-in is essentially for this data leakages and for increasing data security at the various levels. And again, Data Protection Act for better privacy. So again, she has given the challenges, and the corresponding solution is there. Fine. Let's talk about the presentation part. Presentation part, as we see that it is very neatly written, and there are proper subheadings to showcase the various subparts, and introduction and conclusion are clearly written here. And then for different parts, there are different answers. Again, here, what she has done is she has taken this in a different way, that she has kind of used a hub and spoke model to explain different parts, right? And here she has just listed down all these parts like this. So again, this is again a different way of presenting your own answer. So again, it's a very good approach. Fine. So this is how we analyze a topper's copy. I hope this discussion was useful to you. Let me know what you have written as part of your answer. Thank you so much.